Let's check in now with attorney Sharon Doviet for a look at what's coming up next on 31 LawLine.
Thanks. 31 LawLine's coming up live right after the news. Tonight we're taking your calls and questions on everything. It's Ask Us Anything night. Tommy Senyard's here from Senyard Timberlake and League.
Ask Us Anything is scary to me. Always has been. I've been practicing law 35 years, but anything is a lot of stuff.
It is.
I've got good help. George Hartline from Scottsboro, the borough, Jackson County, who does a little bit of it all. He's going to jump in, and Sharon, of course, is a domestic relations lawyer. So be the first to call 256-536-0077. I promise we're live.
31 LawLine coming up live right after the news.
Your rights, your calls, live. 31 LawLine is on the air.
Good evening. Welcome to Way 31 LawLine. I'm Sharon Doviet. Tonight we're taking your calls on anything. It's Ask Us Anything night. Everything from car accidents to medical malpractice questions, criminal law, divorce, homeowners insurance questions. We've got some storms that are coming in and you may need to know about that. The 31 LawLine number, 536-0077. Before we get to those questions, let's take a look at what's coming up on the docket for the next few weeks. Next week, May the 4th, May already, it's going to be all about injuries. So any kind of injuries, from personal injuries in car accidents to being injured by a product that you bought. May the 11th, it's Mom in the Law in honor of Mother's Day. We're going to be talking about elder law questions, so wills, trusts, estates. And on May the 18th, we're going to be talking about being hurt on the job, so workers' comp kind of questions. Tonight, we're going to be taking your questions on anything. Tommy Senyard's here from Senyard Timberlake and League.
It's so foreboding.
I know. You like to call it the Stump the Chump
Stump
show.
the Chump, yeah, they usually do too. But
before we get to those,
we've got great help.
We do have great help to answer those questions. Before we get to those questions, we've got all these storms coming. You kind of wanted to talk a minute about homeowners insurance claims.
I do. I want to talk about playing defense for your house. You know, we all have coverage on our homes, but we've got this huge storm coming in. And here's the things that you need to know. Hail damage, that's H-A-I-L damage. You can have hail on your roof for 5, 6, 7 minutes and destroy your roof. And some people don't either know it was there or they don't know the roof doesn't immediately start leaking or ruined. And the insurance companies get by with tens of thousands of proper hail damage claims because why? People don't make them.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to have large hail. We're supposed to have larger hail over in your county, George, I'm told. Hail can destroy car paint. It can destroy roofs. It can injure animals. And so be aware that you may have a hail claim, but you have to be the one making the claim. Don't make one if it's not. They check the roof. They can tell if there's hail damage. A roofer can. You don't have to agree with the roofer that the insurance company sends out because a lot of times they'll lowball you. Wind damage, we're going to have straight line winds or tornadoes. Those damages are covered, and sometimes you don't know that you've got wind damage until you have a contractor look at it. We had a house one time where the roof in Tuscaloosa, where our boys all went to school, we bought a little house and the roof actually lifted off and then sat back down. Well, it was $27,000 worth of damage, but it wasn't all visible to the eye. Tree damage, does it matter whether it's your tree or the neighbor's trees? It depends. You want to take photographs of the hail, you want to take photographs of the damage, you want to make your claim soon. You don't want to show up a week. I hope nobody has any damage, of course, but be aware of that because homeowners lose tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in home value because they're not vigilant when they've got homeowners coverage.
And be careful when you call those folks and explain it. If you need to talk to a lawyer about it, lawyers who practice in this field will give you a free consultation. So if you've got questions about it, talk to a personal injury, property damage questions. We're talking tonight, it's Ask Us Anything night, Stump the Chump night, and we do have some excellent help. George Hartline is here from Scottsboro, and George does a little of everything over there, including, George has got a pet peeve that family law cases do not get a jury trial. Did you know that? Family law cases are not tried by juries.
No, they're not jury, yeah.
You would like to change that.
I would. You know, a lot of other states are following that line in going with a jury trial for equitable claims in divorce trials. And so in Alabama, the problem that we have is that if one judge is trying a family law case, it's not as fair as if you had a jury of your peers and trying a lot of issues that have to do with the boundary between equitable and legal claims. So traditionally, equitable claims are tried by the judge, and legal claims are tried by the jury. And the facts that are intertwined are tried by the jury and determined whether or not they're true or not. Well, nowadays, these divorces have to do with claims of infidelity. They have to do with a lot of money issues. And so the reasons and the rationales for using a judge instead of a jury are kind of going out the door. And a lot of other states are falling in line with the jury trial for family law matters, and I believe that's what we should do too here in Alabama.
So think on that one.
And I'm going to be devil's advocate, but you know, we impanel juries in Scottsboro maybe 4 times a year. God bless our state legislature. They've determined that court is wasteful government spending. We close our clerk's office on Wednesdays here. But a judge trials can go in a quicker fashion. And most people are going through a divorce. Sharon, you do it. They'd rather have it done sooner than later. And
give them an option.
Not to
You'd like to
naysay
give
it,
them
because
the option.
I think in a perfect world, it would be better to be judged by your peers. Judges do a great job, but they get almost desensitized to some of the horror shows in divorce because they hear them and they hear them and they hear them and they hear them. And then they put pigeonhole kind of outcomes because there's so many of them. And they're not doing anything wrong. That's just human nature.
Well, there's always that balance between judicial efficiency and justice.
And
so when there's justice required, maybe perhaps, especially in small towns in Alabama, a judge may be very familiar with the family that's involved.
That's right.
So it might be very important for there to be a jury of your peers to be able to try those issues.
I like your thinking.
We've got calls waiting. We've got the phones lit up. Larry's on the line from Huntsville with a question. Hi, Larry. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Thanks for having me. This is a 2-part question.
Okay.
Can my ex-wife get out of paying me several $1,000s she owes me from the house? It's been about 15 years, and now it's almost due.
Can
she bankruptcy it?
Is that part of a divorce decree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A property settlement? So the question is, you two pros in domestic relations, I'll be the moderator.
All right.
Claims under a divorce decree, 15 years deep. Is there a statute of limitation? Is there latches, which is an equitable defense?
I would say he can still go in there and get that. You've got a divorce decree that says she was required to do it, and I would say that she's in contempt for not doing it. But you have to bring the case.
That's right. You'd want to file a contempt motion and show that that was not paid. And you'd want to have some proof, any kind of documentation that you can show that nothing was actually done would help.
And I know this from having done this research many years ago, unless it's changed. Child support, let's suppose you get divorced and you say, you know, he's such a son of a gun, he's not paying me child support, I'm not even going to bother him. And you say, I'm not even going to collect the child support. Fast forward 15, 16, 17 years. Not only do you still owe the child support, you owe at some point in time 12% interest on every month that has accrued, and now they've changed it to what,
7.5. They
7.5.
reduced it. 7. Can you imagine getting the 12% interest back in the day? You can't get 12% on anything legal.
But 7.5. I mean, at 12%, money doubles every 6 years. At 7%, what's the rule of 72? It's 12 years. So all you guys out there that hadn't paid child support in 15 years.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. There's no statute of limitations. There's no.
And with that said, a lot of people have what they believe to be unofficial agreements. So they say, you know what, we're going to stop paying. We agree to that. You know, it's no problem. Oh, it's wonderful. Life is great.
She told me I didn't have to pay.
Yeah, it's all great. We agreed. We went out to dinner and had, you know, a great time, and everything's fine. And that's okay sometimes. But the thing is that you need to file something with the court to let them know. Because if you don't, later on, things may not be as rosy as they were before. And then suddenly, there was no agreement. So you need something official with the court filed. Your
foot's in a bear trap. And the only thing more powerful than getting your foot in a bear trap is when you start running and the chain runs out.
Ashley,
and that can happen.
Ashley's on the line from Layton. Hey, Ashley, thanks for calling. What's your question tonight? Ashley from Layton, are you still with us?
A lot of hot air on the bridge. She may have hung up.
One more time, Ashley from Layton. How about John from Huntsville? John from Huntsville, thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sure.
I got a question. I was wondering about maybe suing my neighbors or getting them locked up because they create some noxious smells over in their yard that travel over to my yard, and this happens all the time.
Gotcha.
You said noxious, so that to me tells me that you've done a little bit of research on the laws here, because most people wouldn't use that term. But
you can have smells can be a nuisance. You know, but you can move to a smell. One time, I won't name him here, but he's a well-known and well-liked hog farmer who had a place out in the county. And Lord God, you get July weather,
Ooh.
and you cannot fathom what that smells like. But he was there before they built the subdivisions there, and if you move to the nuisance, tough luck.
Right.
So smell, there is a smell ordinance, and you can get enforcement for that. Now, if you're referring to drugs, being the noxious odor, of course, you know, anybody can call the police and say, I think the people next door are engaged in extracurricular activity, which is illegal. And, you know, if the police do their job, then, you know, that might end that noxious odor. And that's warning for those people in Alabama who think this is Colorado. It is not. Marijuana in Alabama is very illegal. If you sell 2.2 pounds of it, you go to jail for 5 years, serve every day, which is close to a manslaughter sentence. You know, and I hear younger people say, well, it's just pot. Well, it's just pot in Oregon, and it's just pot in Colorado, but here it's a crime and a felony, and could be a felony serve every day. So all noxious substances are not created equal.
Although now we do have the medical marijuana initiative that has been legalized in Alabama, and I do believe that most states are going to be leaning towards that legality of it, to play devil's advocate.
Oh no, and I don't have a problem with it on a personal level, but I have a problem since I have 6 boys. I try to tell them there is a huge difference in, you know, in the intoxicants that you consume in the eyes of the law. Now,
oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, in terms of your poisoning your future, this is not beer, and maybe it should be. And some states have said it is, but it's not here.
And you don't want to risk the judge that you're going to get
No.
in North Alabama with something like that. We've got Judy on the line from Huntsville with a question. Hi, Judy. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
My question is, have you ever had a lawsuit against a company that provides hospice care?
I have, and I won't name it, but it is here in North Alabama, I'll say, and it's the settlement's under seal, but it was a very significant settlement because on video, caught one of the hospice the child, who was a 55, 60-year-old woman, felt like the hospice worker was abusing the mother, and some hospice companies come into nursing homes to sort of relieve the duties of bathing, cleaning, teeth brushing, maybe a couple days a week, and the government pays them or something. And every time this Tuesday and Thursday rolled around, her mother would have marks or bruises, and so she set up a camera, and it was a horror show.
Oh.
And so, yes, I mean, workers that work in health care are like workers that work in law or workers that work in gas stations. There's great and terrific and caring and wonderful. There's good, there's fair, there's drunks, there's drug abusers, there's people going through divorces, there's mentally ill people in every segment of society, and you just don't know. And so you have to be vigilant in all of healthcare and all of consuming lawyer services, gas station services. Not everybody's the same.
They're telling us to take a break. We're going to take a break and be right back answering more of your questions on anything tonight. Stay with us.
We 31 LawLine. With help from the personal injury law firm of Sinyard, Timberlake & League. Named one of Alabama's top personal injury law firms by U.S. News and World Report. With founding attorney Tommy Sinyard. Selected by the authors of Best Lawyers in America. Attorney Michael Timberlake. Managing partner and top rated by fellow lawyers for legal ability and ethics. Attorney Will League. With over $25 million awarded to his clients. Hosted by award-winning broadcaster and practicing family law attorney Sharon Doviat. And guests from across the Tennessee Valley. Your rights, your calls. Live, this is 31 LawLine.
And welcome back. I'm Sharon Doviet. It's Ask Us Anything night. Tommy Senyard's here from Senyard Timberlake and League. I was in Cracker Barrel tonight, and Alvy, my waitress, knew LawLine, and she knew it was coming on tonight, and I told her I'd pass along your hello.
Hello,
Alvy.
Alvy. We love you. And
Thanks for watching.
there's a lot of people.
People watch. George Hartline is here from Scottsboro. He does a little bit of everything. Glad to have you here tonight.
Glad to be here.
You're doing an unusual case, the Scottsboro boys' wrongful incarceration. You've got a lawsuit going on over that.
Well, it's not technically a lawsuit. It's more akin to a workers' compensation style claim in that it's statutory remedy. So a lot of people are familiar with the Scottsboro boys case, and I'll cut it short as I can here, but one of the Scottsboro boys was pardoned before they died, Clarence Norris. He was pardoned in 1976 by George Wallace. And the 2001 statute that came into play, which was the wrongful incarceration statute, entitles those who were wrongfully incarcerated to $50,000 per year. And so a petition was filed this year for the estate of Clarence Norris by my office, and it was requesting for the 15 years that he spent on death row. So that's about $750,000. And so we're really excited that the state of Alabama is going to be able to compensate the family for the wrongs that were done back then, and in a way kind of put the money where the mouth is.
That's interesting. That's
Oh,
interesting
and that's
stuff.
going to come to pass, huh? It's going to get resolved, or is it being contested?
He's fighting
Well, it's a
through it.
petition. It's not a, like I said, it's not a lawsuit. It's a petition, as if, you know, just like in workers' compensation. If you cut your thumb off, there's X amount of dollars available for that thumb. In this case, if you're incarcerated and it's proven that you're wrongfully incarcerated, you get so much per year. So we're excited to see what the result will be, and we know that the state will do the right thing.
We'll be interested to see what happens. Tom's on the line from Tony. Hi, Tom. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
I just need to know if, and I have an old farmhouse that I'd like to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to get the fire department to come out and tell me if they could burn it or if they could do some practice burns on it, but I can't get anybody to get back with me, and I just want to know if I can burn it myself without any repercussion, or what the repercussions would be if I just light it up.
You ever had anybody? What do you think?
No, you can't do that.
I don't think so.
You have to have a permit to burn, even in a county area, if it's something of that size, because of the risk of the fire moving to other places, fields, other houses, and so forth. So Tony is in the county of Madison. You should call the Madison County Courthouse and ask for advice as to what to do in regard to that. A lot of volunteer fire departments, like you said, look for places to burn in. Even our Huntsville Fire Department, the Decatur Fire Department, I know goes through these drills, and I'm not sure about Scottsboro, but a lot in Marshall County. The Hebron Volunteer Fire Department has done some burns and gotten permission. So it's a great resource for them to train their firemen, get their equipment out, make sure everything's functional. And I don't think you have to. It might be a different volunteer fire department might be willing to come and do the training there than the one in your local area. But I wouldn't just start lighting things on fire out there. And Tony, once upon a time, was really out in the country, but not so much now.
And it sounds like your frustration is probably that no one has responded. And unfortunately, that's the case sometimes. But what I would encourage you to do is to continue trying, leave messages, and write a letter. One of the best things that you can do a lot of times is have something in writing to show that you have done everything that you can, and so that when the time comes where that you may have to take some kind of action, you can show that I've done my due diligence.
I'd call the county commissioner for your area in Tony, and I'm not sure which one that is, but our county commission is very accommodating to its constituents about things like that.
Sounds like a farmhouse would be the ideal thing for a practice run. But tell us, take another break. We're going to take a break and be right back answering your questions on anything tonight. Stay with us. welcome back. It's Ask Us Anything night. Tommy Senyard's here from Senyard Timberlake and League. George Hartline is here. He's an attorney in Scottsboro that does all kinds of cases, and we've got callers waiting. Alicia's on the line from Tony. Hi, Alicia. Thanks for waiting through the break. What's your question tonight?
Hi there, and thank you. My question is, as a non-custodial parent, if you find out that the custodial parent is having a drug abuse problem that is putting the children in harm's way, what can you do?
Sharon ought to answer this. She
All
does
right.
a lot of this.
I do a lot of this. It's time, and I'm hoping that you've got some good evidence of this, because just walking in and telling Judge, I think it's going on, you might get a drug screen, but you might not get a whole lot more than that from the judge. Collect whatever evidence you've got, file a petition. If it's to the point that if there was something in your history that you thought you would not be granted custody, you may need to be talking to some of the other family members to have that parent declared unfit by the court. But if you are a fit parent, time to file a petition with the same court that you were in before that declared custody in the last case, and pursue it. And the sooner you start filing, the better. Whatever evidence you've got, it's time to get it out. To
change things in a divorce decree, you have to have the standard is, first in regard to children, is what's in the best interest of the child, which is pretty broad and pretty subjective. Right. But there has to be a substantial change in circumstances from the time the court's last order was entered. You just can't say, well, it's been a year, let's give this a whirl, I want custody now. Isn't that right, Sharon?
That's right. But drug abuse by the other parent, if it's endangering the kids, very much so. And you do this kind of case some too.
Absolutely, and you see this a lot of times. Information comes up that the children is exposed to some kind of danger in the other home, and that's the best thing that you can do. Sharon hit it on the head. You need to file a petition with the same court. You need to let them know. You need to gather up any evidence that you can find, even if it's Facebook messages or any kind of pictures or just any kind of testimony maybe even. But you want to protect that child at all costs there, and so you want to petition the state. There is a crime now for reckless endangerment of the child, if that's the right words, and it carries a pretty heavy, I want to say a 20-year penalty. If you're in a car with a child and say you're taking drugs while the child is in the car, whoa, you look out, because they treat that as a felony.
And of course the court is going to consider it an emergency issue, and they're going to push you ahead of all the other little divorce cases that are in line. They'll get you in quickly if they think a child is in danger. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, let's tell you how to get in touch with these guys. Here's how to reach George Hartline. He's in Scottsboro. He does all kinds of cases from personal injury down to divorce cases. 256-999-0202, or the website is heartlinelaw.com. And here's how to reach Tommy Senyard with Senyard Timberlake and League. They do personal injury cases, 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon does this domestic relations, which is divorce, child custody, and things of that matter, and does it very well. Her number here in Huntsville is 256-539-7337.
Thank you, sir. Next week, it's all about injuries. Thanks for your questions tonight. Watch out for the storms. Y'all be safe.
Be safe.